Hi, I was talking to someone today um, about how some people have a fear of tapping, that it's when we talk about, dealing with inner child wounds or things that happened when we were young and we've blocked them out for a reason because they were very scary. The comment that is used often is, I don't want to open a can of worms. And I've heard that enough times, and I started to think about it. And I thought, what would happen if we actually opened a can of worms, right? On television, when you open a can of worms, they have that little toy thing of a jar, and you open it and stuff flies out and scares you, right? But if it were a literal can of worms and we were to unscrew it and open a can or bottle or jar or whatever it is, and we were to open it and look inside, what are those worms really doing? They're kind of slowly wiggling. I've never seen worms jump at anybody or attack anybody or do anything other than just slowly kind of wiggle around. But we're so afraid that if we open that can of worms, right? So, what I want to tell you about that from my experience in doing tapping in the last 13 years is, by the very activity of doing the tapping, what we're doing is we're calming down our nervous system. So, as we calm down our nervous system, and then we think about things that happened that scared us when we were little, it can come to the surface, like my conscious, subconscious little demonstration here. It can come up to the surface and not be really too scary anymore. One, because we've calmed down our nervous system first, and two, because things that were really scary as a small child aren't really as scary as an adult. And so even if you do open that can of worms, it's a little more like a little jar of worms that are just kind of wiggling around. And it's not that big of a deal. And we're able to release that old sting from childhood and release it and let it go. Or more, I like to call it processing. Because if we have some sort of a trauma, a big T trauma or a little t trauma as a child, very often they're little t traumas. And, like I was told that, and, a small child, if you say, I don't have time right now, can be just as devastating and traumatic to a small child as a car accident for an adult, because of the difference in our world view from a very small young child's perspective versus our adult perspective. And so very often, if people have when they have a trauma, because we all have had traumas in our life, we can't live through our life without having traumas. And if someone were to be able to comfort you and talk you through it and explain it wasn't your fault and you didn't do anything wrong, we can process that trauma and we can release it in our bodies and let it go. But very often, I was thinking of kids who tell me that they have seen their parents fighting about money, and they were very small. And it was really scary because they were really going at it. And they've been holding that in their bodies all these years. So anytime any kind of unsettling feeling comes up about money, they feel like they're, the 3-year-old that was watching the parents fight. And who do they have to go to help them process it and release it and let it go if both the parents are fighting? Nobody. So they don't tell anybody, and it just gets buried in their bodies. However, with the tapping, I'm able to help them process this. And if we can do it at a core level, we could release it and let it go, very often permanently. So it's a much calmer process than anyone ever believes until they experience it. So I just wanted to come on and share this little video, because I think a lot of people who have been hesitant to, try out tapping just to see what it feels like, I think that might be why, because they're afraid of opening a can of worms. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Send me an email. It's yourstrongestlife@gmail.com, or a text at 253-441-9963. And if you're, wanting to learn more, but you're afraid, please reach out and ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer you. And I promise I won't be pushy and try to force you into doing this. But I will definitely give you the information that I know that maybe it can help. So thanks so much. Again, I'm Gwen Orweiler with Your Strongest Life at www.yourstrongestlife.com. Thanks. Bye.